What is up, bros? Thank you so much for tuning in to the Investing Bros this morning. It is 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Bitcoin has not put in an all-time high yet. We have gotten very close, so close indeed. Let's take a look here. You guys can check my math. I'm up to zoom out here, going all the way back to 2021. You can see that indeed Bitcoin did hit a price of almost. Let's just keep zooming in here. This is worth it. Worth the wait here. 69,051 on Coinbase. Right. Other exchanges, you're going to get slightly different variation on that, but it's pretty much the consensus is 69,000 is the all-time high. But the fact that that there's even a debate is worth noting as well. One more place we could potentially confirm that is coin market cap, because they do keep a record of the all-time highs as well. So I don't know if you guys can see. Yes, all-time high July 14th, 2010. What is going on here? Okay, all-time high November 10th, 2021, 2 years ago, 68,789. 68,789. So that was reached. So according to the all-time high here on Coin Market Cap, the high here from November 10th, I don't know what exchange they're pulling that data from, that the all-time high was a lot lower than on Coinbase by a lot. 68,789. Again, yeah, I mean, so it did wick into that. I'm looking at the 4 hour here. It did wick into above that because it got up to 68.8. So, 68.8 is higher than 68.78. So we did get an all-time high from whatever exchange it's pulling that data from. But from Coinbase, it's not, right? And so the point is here is that we could nickel and dime it, right? We could sit here and look at it under a microscope. There's going to be a lot of debate, right? Some folks are going to take one side, some folks are going to take the other. It kind of doesn't matter. What matters here is that there was a rejection off of that level area, right? And obviously this level is extremely important, 69,000, for obvious reasons. It's all-time high. As we've been approaching it, right, what I've been wanting to see is just a smash right on through it. Just a smash, just no looking back, right on through it. That is not what we got. Right? We got a rejection, and now we're getting a test higher. We found support down here at 65,000, which is pretty good. This coincides with some historic monthly candles from way back in the last bull market when all-time highs were being put in. But ultimately, guys, this is neither bearish nor bullish. This is just patience. And it shouldn't be the first time that you've gotten well acquainted with patience in your investing and trading career. So I'm going to talk about some bullish things, may sprinkle in a couple of bearish things, but let me show you all kind of my reasoning for why we may not see an all-time high in March. Now, I think we will. Personally, I think we will, but this is a line here, right? And think about it trade psychology standpoint as well. You're literally buying the top, the defined top for all time for Bitcoin, right? Now, it's not the cycle top, right? But it is the top. And it is in the traders' and investors' mind saying, why are you buying the top? Why are you buying the top, right? So until we need a bullish catalyst, and I do believe that we've got that today. I do believe we've got some bullish catalysts, and I'm going to cover them here in just a second. But I want to show you kind of a bearish case and some reasoning for it. I'm like probably 6 out of 10 confident in this, meaning I don't think that this is going to play out because of this. But let's go ahead and jump in, and I'll show you why we may not get an all-time high in March. So when we had some consolidation back here in the lead up to the January 10th approval of the spot Bitcoin ETF, right? We had that consolidation and lead up, and then we had a very decisive break higher, okay? A break higher to new 2024 highs at the time. And that was followed by pretty much the only thing that can classify as a pullback in this rally, right? And this was only a 21.5 if you're generous percent pullback, right? So if we go to that move when that broke out, and then we go to when Bitcoin finally broke higher, meaning when it finally put in higher highs for 2024, you basically get 213 bars, right? So 213 bars later, or on this it would be what, 426 days. But we'll stick to the 4 hour here, and we'll just go 213 bars. So if I go over here and I go to the consolidation and then the breakout, right? 213 bars puts me into April 7th, which is only days away. It's like 9 days away from the halving, or what the halving is calculated to be. So that would be basically the scenario, is like based off past performance. The last time that we had, now there was other consolidations and moves higher, right? There's a consolidation and move higher here. If I draw 213 days out from this, right, that still puts me in April technically. So look, am I trying to be bullish here? Yeah, I'm like making an effort to try to be bullish, bearish, to present this argument to you. But overall, I'm very bullish on Bitcoin for obvious reasons. Perhaps we haven't talked about those reasons in a while, but maybe we'll talk about them today on this show or at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just a little bit of like kind of circling the wagon, making sure everybody who's subscribed recently fully understands the value of Bitcoin. I think that might be valuable. We might have to do something like that. But overall here, guys, I'm very bullish on Bitcoin for a variety of reasons. I'm going to get to those reasons here in just a second. But one thing we're noticing is that Ethereum is absolutely ripping. So the king of altcoins and the queen of crypto here is ripping, actively putting in new all-time highs, putting in new highs for 2024. I've turned on too many indicators here. And as you can see, this is getting right on into the premium zone here. And at this point, I'm like, how far can this go? How far can Ethereum go? Because this is what all the eyes are on now that we're in kind of this season of talking about the Ethereum spot ETF and the imminent decision on May 23rd that could be pretty impactful to the altcoin markets, to say the least. If it were to be rejected, I don't think that we see a green day for altcoins on that day that the decision is made, to say the least. But I think overall, right, I do think that they passed the spot Ethereum ETF, right? I think it's a better chance than not. Now, Eric Volkanis has come out and said that Bloomberg will be issuing their likelihood rating, how they issued a likelihood rating for Bitcoin spot ETF to be approved by the SEC. They will be doing the same with the Ethereum ETF. Can you believe it? So we'll be looking out for that. And I would expect that probably tomorrow or by the end of the week. I don't know. I don't know if they've given guidance on exactly when they're going to put that out. It might be later. We'll see. But when we find out, I'll absolutely be reporting that to you all as soon as I find out, probably via Twitter. So if you're not following my Twitter, it's right down there. So go check it out at Tshroom. You're going to love it. I also retweet a lot of really good content from other folks. It's kind of an aggregate little news feed there for you on Twitter. So overall, am I DCAing? Right now, I'm not. Right now, I'm pausing my DCAing, just kind of seeing how things are going, right? A lot of that has to do with, I am very happy with my exposure to crypto right now. Very happy with it. I'm waiting for a pullback, right? I'm waiting to see if we can get a pullback. Now, what I showed you guys with that like 113 days analysis, let me make clear that is it's a very gross comparison. It's not a one-to-one comparison at all. When I show you this chart, I just want to make clear that this was a very unique moment in the history of Bitcoin, right? This was the lead up to ETFs being approved and Wall Street now the race is on. Like go buy your ETFs for Bitcoin spot exposure, right? This was a very unique and bullish moment at a time where Grayscale was sitting there knowing that they were about to be the biggest bear in town, right? And so that was a very specific dynamic. And what ended up happening from there, a quote unquote 20% pullback, well, quote unquote, it is a 20% pullback from there over a period of time. There was an immediate 15% pullback. So you got more than the majority of the pullback right in the first few days, I want to say. But ultimately, we got that full 20% pullback. So in that 213-day kind of range analysis that would put us into April before we come back and hit the all-time highs, come back and break what those new highs put in. That is the fundamental situation is pretty different, right? The fundamental situation, like the trade psychology right now, is very different. It feels to me like retail is deployed, like knowledgeable crypto educated retail is pretty deployed, and yeah, they're going to continue to get revenue and deploy more money and buy more Bitcoin. But I'm thinking that crypto retail is pretty well deployed. Now, crypto whales are a little bit different, right? Crypto whales are sitting on the sidelines and they're swing trading, right? So they may have some liquidity, they may have some dry powder that they have in reserve in case we get to some levels that they don't like, that they want to see, and to try to boost Bitcoin higher. But the question is everybody on the boat, as Tim likes to say? And I just don't know yet. We'll wait to see. So far, this market is showing signs that it doesn't want to do another 20% pullback, much less a 30 or 40% pullback, right? But I wouldn't put it past Wall Street, wouldn't put it past JP Morgan to engineer something that would have a 30 to 40% pullback, right? We've seen it in almost every bull market. There is significant pullbacks to the tune of 35% sometimes during these bullish moments, very bullish moments of high volatility. So anyway, back to this 213-day range analysis. You have to remember that there's different fundamentals at play here. But I just wanted to give you guys kind of a path, kind of a prepare your mind that there could be another 20% pullback from here, right? And where would that put Bitcoin price? So Bitcoin at 20% from here would be 54. So call it 55, right? 55,000. How much were you last time we were at 55,000 was February 27th, right? This was like the last time you got up to wash your hands. This was very recently, guys. This is not that long ago. And I'm sure that when we hit 55,000, you were sitting there tweeting it out just like I was. 55,000 OMG. We're so back. And now we're talking about a 20% pullback from these highs where we went and being like, oh, I'm scared. 55%. Right. Now, I know the bros aren't. I know the bros are not feeling this way. The bros are sitting back pretty. They're feeling good. They're feeling confident in their high conviction assets that they're holding, their fixed supply assets that they're holding, right? But a lot of the crypto market is sitting here looking at this being like, man, did I just get conned into buying something I don't really understand? Did I get conned into buying something at the top that I do not understand? And some of the weak hands, that's how you get a 20% pullback, right? You get weak hands buying all through here and just cheering and saying and tweeting, posting on Instagram, just bought Bitcoin for the first time. Ha ha ha. I'm rich now, right? But by the time we get up here and then price starts coming down, you get questions like my mom was asking me yesterday, should we sell and try to buy back lower, right? And if you're a professional swing trader who's been doing it for 30 years, be my guest, right? Or if you're somebody who is trading with like a tenth of their overall investment portfolio, right? That's very common, trading with a very small percentage, then you might try to time this for sport, right? Or if you're an actual day trader, you might be trying to time this to pay your bills, right? Trying to time a pullback to buy lower, right? But if you are a pedestrian hodler, you are not trying to sell here and buy back lower. We're on the precipice of Bitcoin getting past its all-time high, right? That is very bullish. It's the most bullish thing that an asset can do is go higher. So I'm not selling here. I'm not DCAing here, right? And I'm certainly not buying here. Right? If I didn't have any Bitcoin exposure, I would be buying here. I would be buying at any price because I assume that I would have kind of crossed an intellectual threshold where I now understand Bitcoin, and it would be undeniable as it is to me now that I need to have exposure, right? But I already have a lot of exposure, and so I'm not going to buy any more Bitcoin here. That's just the way. And I'm also not DCing into anything else. But that's more of my personal finances. So if you're DCing into like Cardano or the Bitcoin miners, I honestly think that's a pretty prime move right now. But keep in mind that we could see a 20-30% pullback right now. Buying Bitcoin, if you already have a bunch of Bitcoin, to me doesn't make a ton of sense right now. Once we get up above 69,000, right, and we form support, right? If we get up here, boom, we slice through, we price explore, we find some price we like, and then we come back and we confirm 69,000, right, as support, and then we go higher and exceed whatever price discovery price that we found to the upside, then it's like game on. Like maybe I'm deploying a lot more of my dry powder, right? And you're like, but T-Shroom, if you could buy it down here, why? Or if you want to buy it up here, why wouldn't you buy it down here? Well, because we don't have the luxury of seeing into the future. We don't know what's going to happen here. There could be a legendary 40-50% pullback. There could be some kind of event, right? Let me just pull one out of the hat. The BRICS nations is in the news today. I'm not going to cover it, but the BRICS nations in the news. Saudi Arabia has been kind of the darling. It's kind of the swing vote, if you will, in some sense. In American terms, a swing vote means it's the vote that matters, right? Each state, 50 states, they all vote in the election, and some states are more important than others because they're undetermined, right? And they're going to be the number that pushes over the majority of the votes that are needed, 270 or whatever it is. So in the same way, you had Saudi Arabia and the BRICS, and it seems like they're kind of 1 foot out, 1 foot in with the BRICS, because it's like they have they have a relationship with the United States that they don't want to lose, and it's hard to blame them geopolitically for that, right? But they like the BRICS for one reason or another, probably because they've been pissed at the petrodollar for a couple decades. But overall, there's an understanding that that what could happen with the BRICS is something is that Saudi Arabia could completely come out, right? That would be bad. That would be very bad for the BRICS. That would be a fundamental change, right? It would be a fundamental loss in momentum for the BRICS. And we kind of saw that this year. No, but this isn't about the BRICS, right? This is about trying to find a fundamental argument for why we might have a 20, 30, 40% pullback. Because right now on the charts, it doesn't look, oh, look at all that scribble. It doesn't really look like it's in the cards. There's enough support here. There's enough support here above 55,000, right, to keep us from really getting into major pullback territory. A 12% pullback is going to scare away some weak hands that have been buying in here, right? But I think a 12% pullback probably isn't going to completely flush out all of the noobs, right? It would take a 20 at least, in my opinion. And all of this is like spaghetti science, right? It's not like I'm being ultra precise about this, but I'm trying to just lay out some different scenarios of what to expect. And ultimately here, what I'm trying to help you guys see is that it was only one news story away, right, from having a correction. Now, when that news story comes, depending on what it is, I'm probably not going to really take it all that seriously. I'm going to analyze it. We're going to talk about it here and on the 3 p.m. show, right? But ultimately, it's just going to be for what we're seeing right now, is just to bring the price down, right? For whatever reason. I happen to think that we're not going to see that. I happen to think that we're going to see a move higher here. And I'll show you why here in just a second. But before I do, let's go ahead and check in the chat. Let's see what is going on here. Pashas, long life to Pepe. Pepe is falling. Pepe is falling. Let's take a look at the green bubbles here. And I'll keep scrolling through chat. I'm seeing Sheeb doing real well. XEC eCash, we talked about it a little bit yesterday. Not very much. ICP making a comeback, 20%. I see GS in the chat said GM, Blackie Chan. And Eric Wallen said LOL, not yet, Komen. So Komen must be getting a little bit ahead of his skis here. Let's see if we can find that. Eric, did you stake tattoo and leave your wife yet? That is only in crypto. Only in crypto do you read a sentence like that. Crypto Mini Bike said, "Good morning, everyone. Good morning." And I will take a sip of coffee. Look at these beautiful green bubbles. Army Piper jumping in. Good morning, T-Shroom. I love it. Good morning, Army Piper. Hope you're doing well. Blackie Chan said, "Good morning, bros." So a lot of warmth, a lot of appreciation. Mr. B said, "I'm looking for the DXY to have a pullback. BTC is my stablecoin." I like. Well, it's my stablecoin too, right? My savings is in Bitcoin. That is the way to look at Bitcoin. It is the best value. It is the best perpetuator of wealth. That's a good way to put it. Crimson Caravan Company said, Gerard Butler's new movie, Pepe is Falling. Nice. I like it. And then Drew XRP, telling the real truth. Smash the like, you punny humans. I love it. I love it. I love it a lot. All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump back in here. Let's get into some of the news stories. And let me just tell you, they're bullish because I think so in the past, we have seen news stories kind of coincide with these pullbacks. Sorry, I'll get to it in a second. But I think what more than likely, based on what I'm seeing in the news this morning, that's not the way that the manipulators are wanting to push Bitcoin. They're wanting it to get up above 69,000. Because I think it's becoming clear more and more that it's really in the interest of these new Wall Street participants to have Bitcoin go to the upside. I think for a long time, I was under the impression that these guys are going to engineer some kind of major pullback, and they still could. Make no mistake. You do not want to trust these people, right? But I am trying to read and interpret their incentives, read and interpret what decisions they may make, and to some extent trade accordingly, right? Based on what I'm seeing in the news, is they're trying to push folks into Bitcoin. So keep that in mind. That's the tenor here. That's the tone of the media landscape. Let's go ahead and take a look here at some of the bullishness. Bitcoin Archive, breaking news. Bitcoin ETF inflow continues to pour in with $6 billion in the last 17 trading days. Only 2 red bars in that time, which is just incredible, right? This is very bullish. Very bullish. These ETFs have been very bullish for Bitcoin. Let's see. BlackRock seeks to add Bitcoin ETF to its strategic portfolio. Guys, it's so big. The potential here for Bitcoin adoption is so big, and it looks like all the keys are opening all the right doors here for Bitcoin to go very, very high, right? And Tim and I tirelessly come on here and we try to articulate that Bitcoin is very bullish, and it's more bullish than we realize, but we want to have realistic price predictions based on historical data, right? But there is a new variable in town, and that is Wall Street, that is getting access to help their clients get into something new, something more beneficial than gold, is what they're hearing in pitches, right? So it's very, very bullish. There's a new variable in town that could push Bitcoin higher than we've ever seen. And we're on the doorstep, literally. And in some exchanges, we were already on the other side of the door. In other fiat, we've been on the other side of the door. In some cases, anyway, we'll digress with that one. But the overall point here is that Tim and I come on and we're very bullish and we articulate that, but we would be foolish and we would not be doing our jobs, right? As crypto educators, as crypto reporters, in not showing you guys the bearish side, because there is a bearish side. We saw it here. Remember the sell the news? This is an excellent example. It was like nobody really understood the grayscale fee schedule and how that was going to be a sell the news event, because nobody really did the math. No analysts were sitting there that I ever saw. They never brought it to my attention, the mainstream media's attention. They never published anything about the grayscale fee being 1.5% and how that was going to be so much more than the next highest fee of 0.8% of these ETFs, right? That was a sell the news event, even though it was the most bullish news of the last decade, right, for Bitcoin. So ultimately, what we have to do is just remember that there can be pullbacks. And we just saw one. We saw a 20% pullback. It wasn't that great. I mean, it wasn't that, it wasn't that great, meaning it wasn't that large of a pullback, right? And then I showed you all, and I'm highlighting this for a reason. I showed you all that if we do a similar kind of analysis, so we have a consolidation and then we have a big push to new highs, right, for 2024, if there was a, from that point, right, 213 bars later, puts us in April, right there. And I've already shown you this, and I'm highlighting it. I'm showing you twice because I'm reading you a very bullish headline, but I don't want you to make a mistake here and start to get more invested than you can afford to. Do not invest money that you cannot afford to lose. Right now, it makes so much sense to just keep buying. But historically, we have seen pullbacks, okay? It's hard. This is a hard moment for me because I don't want people to get hurt, but I also don't want people to miss an opportunity. So I'm trying to ride the fence. I'm trying to ride the fence of this. I'm not trying to say buy or sell at all. I'm trying to just make you aware of what the different dynamics are here. This is why it's a very volatile industry. It's why these assets, digital assets, are very volatile, because at any moment they could just shoot up or shoot down, right? And right now we are in a market that has kind of lulled a lot of the new money. It's kind of lulled a lot of the new buyers to sleep, just because they're sitting here. They're like, oh yay, higher, right? Oh yay, higher, and they just think that that's going to keep happening and happening and happening. And then I have to stop myself and say, and there's a chance it might keep happening, but at some point, Tim and I and many other sober minds are sitting here wondering, well, hold on. I do think that there will be a pullback. We've seen it before. And at this point, it's like, teaching me a broken record. Let's get into the details of this bullish story here. Global investment giant BlackRock filed a prospectus with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission on Monday that laid out the firm's plan to add new Bitcoin exchange-traded funds to its strategic portfolio. Very bullish. Doesn't stop there. Stanford Blythe's fund allocates 7% of its portfolio to Bitcoin. Stanford University. Now, this is not a money tranche that I've heard much folks talk about. A money bucket is the university endowments, which, if you haven't heard, those are flush with cash because they've been overcharging America's youth crazy amounts of money for these diplomas, and the students are like, yeah, my high school teachers, all my counselors are like, go to college, man. College is great. And then and then they turn around, well, I don't have the money. And then Uncle Sam shows up. It's like, oh, well, we got the money. Just sign right here. What's the interest rate? What am I going to have to pay on this? Don't worry about that. Education's the most important. And then next thing you know, all these universities have money. And now they're going to use all that money to buy Bitcoin, baby. On March 5th, computer science major and lead at the Stanford Blockchain Club, Cole Lee, announced that the university's student-run Blythe Fund allocated around 7% of the portfolio to Bitcoin following its pitch to the fund in February. They got a good entry too, folks. Stanford Endowment has bought Bitcoin at 45,000K. Nice entry. Genuinely, that's like not a bad entry. He said before adding that the pitch BlackRock's IBIT exchange trade fund to the Blythe Fund. His arguments. Now this is actually really interesting. There's a reason I'm going this far into the details on this article. His argument, which tried to remain as objectively bullish as possible while catering to an audience of skeptics, walking a line, revolved around three key factors: ETF inflows, crypto market cycles, and a hedge against monetary chaos and war. Oh, my boy. This guy deserves a trophy. What was his name? Cole Lee? We might have to try and see if we can get him on the show. That would be just so sick. Because this is just everything for me. I love this. He's literally orange pilling Stanford University. Cole Lee. We got to get him on. Somebody reach out to him and let's see if we can get him on. Well, it doesn't stop there. Over in Germany, there is a brand new crypto exchange, Deutsche Börse crypto trading platform for institutional clients. The regulated spot crypto trading platform is targeted at institutional clients. Crypto finance will provide settlement and custody services. Okay, bullish. One more story for Ethereum. Really quickly, I'll just read the headline. staked Ethereum grows to 116 billion a week before Dan Kuhn upgrade. So that's bullish. Overall here, guys, our faces are melted, right? Our faces are melted right now. That this is a period where we have seen insane growth for Bitcoin, and I would say unprecedented growth in a sense, because we've seen movements higher and quicker than we're used to. Right? If we go back to these lows back here, oh goodness, I need to get off the 4 hour. But if we go back to these all-time lows, this was Wednesday, November 22nd. Let's put it there. At the price of, that's a little more important, huh? The price, 15,005, right? So that's the very, very, very rock bottom on Coinbase exchange, at least. We've seen a 344% move from these lows in not that long of a period of time, right? What is that? That's less than 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, less than a year. Put it there. In less than a year, we have seen some pretty crazy movement. It would be easy to calculate it here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 15 months. That doesn't sound right. In any case, maybe it is that long. In any case, we have been seeing some bullishness that we have never seen before in Bitcoin, and it has a lot to do with the ETFs, in my opinion. But there is a thing called deception, and that tool has been used again and again and again to trick markets. All right, and it has been used by no one else more than the United States Wall Street. Right? So just be careful out there, guys. Be very wary. Don't be putting a bunch of margin into leverage. Keep your stop losses tight and stay hydrated. We will see you at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, bros. I cannot wait to see you there. Adios.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.